Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Christina and I am a mom of 5 kids. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a do a lesson with us. So a few weeks ago, I shared with you guys my plans for teaching my kids U.S. Constitution and government using the Good and the Beautiful Constitution and U.S. Government Unit and the Gather Round Homeschool U.S. Government Mini Unit. And I shared with you guys kind of a little bit about both of them and how I was planning to use them. I was trying to decide between the two of them if I was going to use one or the other or a combination of them both. And you can go back and watch that video, but I did end up deciding that I was going to use them in conjunction with one another, going back and forth between the two of them. Today we are starting out our very first lesson in the Good and the Beautiful Constitution unit. This unit is a bit longer. It's 30 something lessons, whereas the Gather Round Mini unit is 20. So it's not like a back and forth one-to-one lesson sort of thing that we'll be doing. I'm gonna start the first couple of lessons in the Good and the Beautiful's Constitution unit, and then add in some of the Gather Round lessons in between, like every couple of lessons, or if I see that one or two of the lessons align really well and support one another, then I'll kind of line them up that way. But for today, I'm going to take you along with us as we do our first lesson in the Good and the Beautiful Constitution unit. So one thing that I mentioned in my last video where I shared with you guys sort of the similarities and differences between the Gather Round unit and the Good and the Beautiful unit is that you can get the Good and the Beautiful Constitution unit for free as a PDF download. I'm not sure if that will be forever, but I know as of right now, that is the case. So I'll put the link down below for that. But the unit itself is not expensive at all. So I did purchase the physical unit and I did also download the PDF. And the reason is I really do like to have the physical copy, especially because I really liked the way this unit looked. And I also wanted the journals and the novel that goes along with it. But I like to have the PDF because not always, but a lot of times I like to be able to screencast teachers' guides onto the TV so that we can take turns reading and any visuals are nice and big for everyone to look at together. Not that we can't pass around or gather around a book, but it's just nice to be able to have both. Like I like to have the physical copy on my lap and then also be able to screencast things to the TV to take turns reading and just to have them all have something to look at. And I think it's especially important if you have visual learners to kind of have that added layer of visual for them. Okay guys, as I mentioned, we are going to do lesson number 1, and there is really no prep needed for this. Some of the things you have a little bit of prep, like the only prep that I had to do was to tear out this perforated page, and it recommends putting it in like a manila or file folder, and I just used one that I had. Clearly is not brand new. And again, this is not necessary, but something was written on this folder. So I printed out this page from the PDF version, cut off the top, and just put that on here. And I'll just use this for any time we're doing a history case file. So that is the only thing that I prepped for this lesson because it tells you what prep is needed. And I'll show you that really quick. So if you skip past the table of contents and about the course, you'll see like items needed, lesson 1, manila envelope or file folder. And then whoops, I skipped a page. When you go to lesson 1, it tells you what you need to do to prepare. So it's just removing that page, putting it in an envelope or file folder, and then just labeling it history case file. So I just decided to print that out and put the label right on it, but you can clearly just write it on there. And then it gives you the reading, the lesson that you're reading to them. It goes through all of these different concepts. Then it brings you to the history case file activity, tells you exactly when to do it. Then you go through some more readings about it and discussion prompts. This is a primary source that they're sharing. And then that is it for lesson 2. So it looks like there isn't any reading of the novel in the first lesson. It looks like that happens the first time in lesson 2. So we won't be doing that today, but that is woven in throughout the lessons. We are going to start, we're going to do lesson 1. And lesson 1 is called Seeking Truth. So we don't start this today. We start in lesson 2, which is probably good because I'd really like to finish one of our read alouds before we start on a new one. Yeah. But this actually goes along with the course. So it's woven into the course, which is pretty cool. And so is this. So it tells you when to go to this and what pages. So it's pretty organized, which I know you will appreciate. What is truth? This age-old question has been asked throughout the centuries by many people. One of the most famous being Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea, presiding over the trial of Jesus. Pilate asked this question immediately after Jesus had just called himself a witness to the truth. John 18. Perhaps Pilate was searching for truth just as people have for generations. So what is truth and why does it matter?
Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down.
Noah Webster, in his 1828 dictionary, called truth conformity to fact or reality. That means that things that are true are those that agree or line up with things as they actually are. If you throw a baseball and it breaks a window, and then you tell your mom that you don't know who broke the window, you're not telling the truth because the fact or reality... No, you're not telling the truth. You're not telling the truth because the fact or reality is that you actually do know who broke the window. Sometimes people believe that certain things are true, and then later learn more that reveals that the truth is different from what they had originally believed. For example, look at the picture on this page. So this picture shows Earth as the center of the universe. It says most people in the Middle Ages thought that, what is it called?
Nicholas Copernicus. Ptolemy is the one that came up with the geocentric theory in the early 1600s. But then later, Nicholas Copernicus came in, and he invented the heliocentric theory, which we believe in now. It is the sun.
Thank you, Jackson. Most people in the Middle Ages thought that everything in the solar system revolved around the Earth. They believed this geocentric view of the universe was true. Does that make it true? No. In the 16th century, Nicholas Copernicus proved that the planets, including Earth, actually revolve around the sun. The truth had always been that the planets revolve around the sun, even if people in earlier times did not know or believe it to be so. Jax, I'm going to have you read this paragraph right here. Truth can be easy.
Truth can be easy.
Yes, it can.
Divided into the realm of science and math because we can observe nature or perform experiments to find what is true. This is what I just said in the traffic lights.
You said something about truth.
I know. We know that 2 plus 2 equals 5 because we can put two pennies on a table, add 2 more, and every time it will equal 5 pennies.
What?
We know that plants need light.
Be genuine, though.
Okay.
Be genuine.
4. We know that plants need light and water.
And
Okay,
oxygen,
Paige, hold on.
not sunlight.
We know that plants need light, water, and nutrients to survive because if we try to grow a plant with only 2 of those things, it will not grow well or at all. Someone could believe that 2 plus 2 equals
5.
or the plants need only light to survive, but his or her belief does not.
It is important to seek out truth in all things because we want to live our lives in line with reality. We do not want any part of our lives to be lived falsely. We live in a world, however, that sometimes does not value and seek truth. Remember what truth is, conformity to fact or reality. Many people think that truth is whatever they personally think to be right without analyzing whether it confirms the fact or reality. Other people automatically believe that whatever they see on TV or social media or hear on the news or from a friend is true.
Can you think of a time when you read or heard something that you thought was true and then you later found out it was not true? What was it?
Holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
This first lesson of the U.S. Constitution and Government course will give you skills to seek and find the truth. You will get to apply these truth-seeking skills in a history case file later in this lesson and again later in the course. Then hopefully you will continue to apply the skills you learn in this course to discern truth in all your future studies. So now you guys are going to open to page 1 in your U.S. Constitution student journal. So go ahead and open up, Jax.
Life is a winding road, no telling where.
So I'm going to read to you the differences between a primary source and secondary source. Do you guys know the difference?
Won't stop for traffic lights.
So this says primary source is an original first-hand account, such as original journal entries, letters, or news reports by someone who witnessed an event arising directly from the time or event. And then a secondary source is a summary, analysis, or interpretation of primary sources, such as documentaries, articles, or textbooks, usually produced later than the original event. The steps to seeking truth are broken into 5 Ds to help you remember them. Distinguishing between types of sources, digging up trusted sources, determining bias of the author, detecting an underlying or hidden agenda, discovering context. The more we practice our truth-seeking skills, the more we will be able to separate facts and truth from deception and disinformation. Each D includes some questions we can ask ourselves as we seek truth.
Trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down.
Justice, can you read detecting any underlying or hidden agenda?
Who wrote, published, or funded the information was an individual.
Really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling.
And it says, now we will practice applying these skills to a real history case file, which I have right here. Inside this folder is a real case file with a claim about a founding father. You will read the claim and the evidence and then put the clues into context with more historical background. By the end, hopefully you can draw your own conclusions as to whether the claim is true or false. So, you guys are going to take turns.
Open the boy up.
I'm making, Mom, I wanted to tell Mom this. I'm making a sawed-off car 98K. It's only going to be about like this longish. But it's going to be a car 98K with this bolt.
This dude did not brush his teeth.
Okay, can you show Justice the case file and read the question? So it says, we inform, you decide, and then it says history case file. What is the question?
Did George Washington use his slaves' teeth to make his own dentures? That's disgusting.
Does it
So what
actually
is the
say
claim?
The claim: George Washington took teeth from his slaves, possibly by force, to use in his own dentures.
Actually, no, that's
That's disturbing.
Justice,
Let
can
me
you
see.
read the evidence number 1?
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin, restoring everything within. Oh, dreamy, breezy, we go. Easy, easy on our tiptoes.
ledger on page 7. This is the primary source document from which the claim originated. The 6th full line, by the red arrow added for clarity, is the only original document known to give information about teeth being purchased by George Washington or someone working on his estate. What do you make of the claims against George Washington?
George Washington.
So this is...
It's funny because George Washington seemed to be a hero, really.
Yeah. So here's the line that they're talking about, the purchase of the teeth.
Oral teeth purchasing is nasty.
So what do you guys think?
Disgusting.
Other than disgusting though, like what do you think about the claims that like he forced slaves to give his teeth?
But it's like, how do you, like, where do you get that from?
Like inhumaneness, level 27 million.
Get it?
I mean, slavery in and of itself is inhumane.
Right, but
And
it's like,
many of the practices and things done to slaves was inhumane. So I don't think that just saying it's inhumane makes it unbelievable, right? Because then slavery as a whole would be unbelievable, which we know happened. And we know that way more vile things than forcing them to give their teeth happened. Were equally as vile.
I mean, that's like the worst of the worst. It's like getting your teeth yanked for sure.
Now, do I think it's out of the realm of possibility to think that a slave master took his slaves' teeth if they were healthy and his own were not to make him dentures?
No, that's not.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I actually would be surprised if that didn't happen when you really think about it. But based on this evidence alone, I'm not sure if there's any other evidence, but this is saying is that the only evidence we have about where his teeth came from is that one line in the ledger that says he paid 9 Negroes for their teeth.
Which is crazy. Like, why would you sell your teeth?
So the purpose of the activities today, Justice, was to give you an example of the kinds of information you will come across as you read about history. Unlike math and science, history is retold based on the author's viewpoint. As a seeker of truth, you can use the skills you're learning to make your own conclusions. You know you can't believe everything you read or hear just because it was in an article or a textbook, on a blog, an online video, a news station, or even at a museum. Unless you are looking at primary source documents, you are reading or watching somebody's interpretation of history. In this course, you will learn about several of the founding fathers and mothers of the United States. This course focuses on many of the positive things the founders did because those true stories inspire us to seek God's help in our own lives, to educate our minds, and to stand up for what is right. Does this course claim that our founders were perfect, infallible human beings? Absolutely not. For example, there was, unfortunately, a great deal of discrimination, pro-slavery sentiments, and other evils that were prevalent during the period of the founding of our country. As we will read in a later lesson, some of our founding fathers were raised thinking slavery was acceptable, then later changed their minds and worked to abolish the evil practice. Others were against slavery their whole lives, and still others argued to keep slavery indefinitely. Likewise, the U.S. Constitution is not perfect, and the implementation of the document after it was signed has not been perfect. It is an imperfect document created by imperfect people. But isn't it inspiring that because the founders of the nation sought God's divine guidance, the U.S. Constitution has become one of the most important documents in history?
Easy on our tiptoes, undercover agents of the other, beyond gravel, beyond all. A bigger scale, the world.
What are some examples of how you can be bold in the pursuit of knowledge?
I wouldn't want it any other way, no.
Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you found this helpful in deciding if the Constitution unit is something that you'll want to try in your family. I really think it's a great unit, whether it is for homeschooling or even if you're not homeschooling, or whether you just want to teach your kids about the Constitution, or whether you want to learn a little bit more about the Constitution along with your kids like I did. So If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you are doing the unit, if you've done the unit, if you're thinking about trying it, and keep an eye out in the future. I will be sharing with you guys a Do a Lesson with Us from the Gather Round mini unit as well. If you are not already subscribed to our channel, click the red subscribe button, hit the notifications bell so that you know when we have a new video coming out. If you're not already following us over on Instagram, you can follow us there at rooted_homelife. We share a lot of day-to-day things that are going on over here, and I love to connect with you guys over there as well. So I hope to see you soon in one of my next videos, and until next time, stay rooted. Did you wake up, sleepyhead?